Hi everyone, this is John here from ContraBIM, and in this video I want to give you a quick tour of the AMT+C5D example project that we're actually able to include as part of the AMT+C5D collaborative template. Now this is a template that I'm developing with Eric Bobrow, where we're essentially taking MasterTemplate and the best practices that he's developed over 10 plus years and loading it up with the ContraBIM 5D estimating solution for generating quantity takeoffs and linking to Excel for calculating an estimate. And so I'm really excited about this collaboration, and we have some really amazing example projects that some ARCHICAD users out there have donated essentially for training purposes and for educational purposes so that we can share these files with you, and you can actually go through, dissect them, kind of reverse engineer how we've set up the estimating workflow, so it's a little easier for you to go and perform this estimating on your own. So today I just want to do a real quick test drive through this example project and introduce you to a little bit of the master template structure and the beautiful work done by Gerald Hoffman, who was the who contributed this project to for educational purposes. So with that, let's go ahead and take a quick look. So this is a 10-story building. It's got 2 units on each floor. And what's interesting about this is it's actually located right on the beach in the Cayman Islands. And so it's a really pretty fascinating project. It has a long driveway approach with a parking structure on the ground level, as well as a kind of a second-story parking structure here that you access from this plaza level. It also has some ancillary space in a gymnasium right here up top, and then it's pretty much all residential from here, except for the lower level, which is parking, which continues right in. So what's great about this project is it has a wide range of different model elements that we can run through the ContraBIM 5D estimating workflow. And so that's exactly what we're doing right now, is we're going through and applying the C5D product to this master template example project. And we're actually recording the entire process so that you can see exactly how this was put together, and then later replay this as you're going through it and get a little bit more instruction on how things were assembled. So let's take a look at some of the floor plans and sections so you get a little better idea of just the quality of this project and the excellent work that Gerald has completed on this project. So let me just open up here some of the floor plan clones, and let's just start by taking a look at the first floor plan. It's probably a good place to start. So here we go, it's loading up, and so here we can see that we have really 2 main sections of this building. Again, we have the ancillary building in the back with parking, as well as laundry services and a reception desk. On the first level, this is really a pretty common level in terms of the residential layout. It's split right down the middle with a partition wall, and we have a unit on both sides. Elevators are to the top left over here, and then stairwells on each side. So as we click through, our 5th floor here would be a pretty common floor plan that repeats between 1 and all the way up to the 10th floor. 10th floor is a little bit taller, but besides that, everything else is the same. So let's take a look at a section now. So this is a section through, actually this is through the elevators and the stairwell, but one thing that's interesting is that this is there's pile caps and some real deepened sections at the elevator pit. There are piles on this project, so we have some deep foundations that we will certainly be quantifying and pricing. And yeah, so we could just kind of pan up here to the roof and see that we have some raised metal seam roofing, which is nice. And what's really interesting about this project is there's a bunch of CAD image objects in here that are really detailed objects for some different coverings, such as the roofing that we were just looking at there, as well as I believe most of the windows and doors in this project are also CAD image, but nonetheless we can still do all the takeoffs on those, and so we'll run the reports just as if they were native ARCHICAD library parts. But it's there's just a lot of interesting things going on with this project. And one thing that's going to be intriguing is when we get to the point where we are looking at interiors. We are actually using hot link modules for the interiors on this project. So you can see the amount of detail in here in terms of, not just the typical casework that will go into the kitchens, but we have MEP services, a lot of ductwork. I know we have fire protection down on the parking levels that we can do takeoffs on, but yeah, we have quite a bit of different MEP elements that will add to the interest as we go through the step-by-step process of analyzing the project for quantities and producing takeoff reports, and also linking those reports into a cost estimate. So there's just a lot of really interesting things about this project, and we're very lucky that we can share it with you, and you can use it as a educational tool when you are trying to implement some of these workflows yourselves. So this project is fully documented. It's got tons of great layouts, and so it's not just a good representation of the estimating workflow. It's also really just excellent all-around project for understanding how MasterTemplate can be used. So MasterTemplate, developed by Eric, it's a very powerful template, and it's really great for architectural design. And so we're seeing some of the power of that right here through this example project, and it's really been fun to play with and build up. So let's take a look at a few more floor plans. There's some really nicely detailed structural plans, structural layout plans for the decks, as well as columns and walls. So there's some really nice documentation that has been all produced on this project. And yeah, so there's just a lot of different stuff here to take a look at. And yeah, really excited to be sharing all this with you as we are recording different videos and going through the workflow. So so let's talk a little bit more about that actual process here. So you'll notice similarly to the AMT+C5D template, we have all these additional folders that have been added to the base master template file structure. We have in here a bunch of different checklists, one for just kind of recording the process as we go through. So let's take a quick look at this now. We in part one of the video sequence of this step-by-step guide, we actually started just with this base file, and then we went through of the steps of importing properties as well as cost reports, and we made some modifications to the building materials, naming and ID, so that it all aligns real nicely with the cost reporting workflow. We created a link into our estimate template, which we did right here through our C5D Estimating Publisher, and then we established the link to publish this out to a location where we can then grab all those files and start loading them for estimating. We built some a target-based estimate, which was interesting because we loaded up. Let me just navigate here to our zones. We loaded up some gross square footage zones with a lot of cost data that we used to drive the initial target-based estimate. You might have seen some of this in some of the previous webinars that we did. And so there's the zones there, and we'll pull up the estimate here shortly to show you how that's all linked up. But we also, let's go back to our checklist. So we produced a target estimate, linked everything into Excel, and then now we're in the process of going through and loading each of the different quantity takeoff reports that get published out and actually linked into the cost estimate. So right now we've gone through demolition, we did all the concrete and precast, we did unit masonry and stone, we did all the metals, and our last video that we recorded was the video for the decorative metal, which in this case is all those really nice handrails, those glass handrails, which is a little different from the other metal fabrications and railings that we had on the project. But we're making good progress here, and over the next week or so, we'll be recording the rest of these different cost reports. And again, there's really just a lot of interesting things to talk about as we're going through this. A lot of different systems that we can take a look at, whether it's windows or doors or MEP, piping, ductwork, and so on. So there's just a lot of really awesome stuff to take a look at. At the end, we'll spend some more time going through some of the Excel template calculations, as well as some other best practices for using this system. But it's yeah, it's moving right along. So let's take a look at just a few of them here. So let's just start by, let's go to our cost reports and let's just pull up, I don't know, cast in place concrete is always a good one to take a look at. So let's load this. And right now I'm hiding almost all of my toolbars and palettes. So that's why we're getting this big, nice screen to work with. But here we can see that we have everything nicely organized by a uniformat heading. We've, in this case, the element IDs of the elements themselves were really well defined to begin with, so we didn't have to do really much naming of these. You can see the type of elements that these are being drawn with. So pile caps in this case were drawn with slabs versus columns, which a lot of the times I'll use a column for that, but still serves the same purpose. In this case, we're assigning a lot of these based off either cubic yardage or square footage. And then we can see the quantities here. So we have counts, we have volumes, areas, surface areas, heights, and just more details as we kind of pan through here. And then over here at the end, we have more codes that we're using for organizing this into specific building packages, as well as, obviously this is concrete, so everything's on a concrete code at this point. But we also have additional codes here for different levels of reporting and identifying building systems. And so this is just a really great example. Let's grab this in 3D if, well, actually we don't have anything loaded in 3D. Let's go back to our C5D turn all on viewpoint, and that'll make it a little easier to select things here in 3D. Okay, so there we go. We brought back our entire model. So now if we go back to our cost report and we just grab the very top line item here and highlight in 3D, it's actually going to grab everything in the project that is on this report. So this is a really powerful tool for just isolating everything that's concrete in this case and just seeing it all isolated from the rest of the project. So these reports can really be a really powerful quality control tool for just going through and reviewing model elements and making sure that they're on their right layers. You know, in this case, if I went through here to, oh, let's pan down here a bit. We got a lot there under the upper floor construction. Perhaps there's a better way of looking at this if we say instead have our home story at the top and then our uniformat classification. This would be another nice way of just organizing our model and our view of the data that makes up the model. So we'll let this finish real quick and we'll see this by story. So let's just come down here and we'll grab just, I don't know, one story. Let's just grab everything on the 6th floor. We can highlight it and isolate it so that we can see we have decks, balconies, columns, walls, stairs. And so it's all nice and organized in our cost report now. So, okay, so let's continue on. We'll pull up another one here. And so this is the unit masonry, which of course is going to be brick as well as concrete masonry unit, so CMU. So let's let this one generate. This is actually a little different type of report. The concrete report was an elemental based report. This is actually a component based report, which allows us to go a little deeper in terms of breaking out the components that make up a single model element. So if we have a wall assembly that has brick and CMU and insulation and gypsum board, we can actually separate all those out by using these component schedules. So here we can see we have a lot of CMU on this project. We have some balcony partitions. We could, well, I'll probably need to go back here first and deselect my marquee, so we'll bring back everything. We can go back to unit masonry here and then do the highlight. So there we go. We can see it's actually a lot more highlighted on there than I was anticipating. We might have had something highlighted from our previous selection. Oh, that's interesting. Why it's oh, it's because they're grouped. There we go. All right, let's bring this back and we'll go back to our report. And while this is loading, I'm going to open up our estimate file for this project so I can give you a little preview of how far we are and the cost that's been calculated. Okay, so we have elevator partitions, we have parapet walls. There's a lot of different CMU here, and we're just giving them unique identifiers that we're using as a heading here just by taking all those walls at the same time. Let's take a look at some other elements as well. Let's pull up our metal fabrications. Let's see what we have on here. So we have some metal balcony railings. We can highlight those and see exactly where those are. We have some metal stair railings, which, where are those? They are just taking place on those back two. So the rest of them, we'll have to see what's happening with the railings at the other stairs. We have a metal trellis at the roof, which right now we just put this on the this cost report just because it was easy to do at the time. We might move this later to a different cost report if we want to carry it under a different number there. So obviously we have some steel on this project. Let's see. Let's go to our decorative metal report. And in this case, decorative metal is really glass metal handrails is what we're pricing in terms of that trade package. So here we can see all those railings, and yeah, easy way to just highlight them in the model is just by grabbing them on the report. So okay, so let's take a quick look at this estimate template. Again, it's kind of composed with the same type of summary that we've looked at in other videos. So we have a target value estimate, which is being driven by those zones that we were looking at earlier. And then we also have, you can see that we're only up through division 5. You can also see that we've populated these reports with those cost takeoffs from the model, and now we've linked all this into our estimate. So here we can see just based off 300 per linear foot on those glass railings, which is pretty I'd say conservative estimate there. 400 for the barreled glass railings. We can see that we're just under about 275,000 for just that one individual scope. We can go back to the summary and see what we were originally planning. So we actually are only at $4.13 versus $6 per gross square foot. So we've transferred the cost from that value in our total over to our model-based value. And we've done that in a few other cases as well, such as on metal fabrications. We had a lot less here than what we were anticipating. Unit masonry was quite a bit less. And concrete was really pretty close. So, but some of those numbers we plugged in real quickly, and we might want to go through and make some quick adjustments. So, so yeah, this is moving right along, and yeah, hopefully you're as excited as I am about being able to potentially play around with this file and kind of dissect the estimating workflow and how it's been built and linked into the Excel template. So again, this is a part of the AMT+C5D collaborative template between myself and Eric Bobrow, and we're really lucky that we're able to share this example project with you. It's not only a great representation of MasterTemplate, but it's also a really good way of kind of demonstrating how this cost workflow and how the C5D estimating product has been added on top of this particular example file. So okay, well, I thank you for watching, and for more information on the whole ARC5D solution, check out ARCHICADestimating.com. You'll see all the different details in terms of the template, as well as training and coaching coming up. So definitely we're going to be talking more about this project in the quantity and cost estimating course. And so I just invite you to check out that website, and I hope to catch you online in some of our in our classes. So we'll talk to you soon, and thanks for watching.